Coming from the BBC, judge finds White House violated court order to stop funding freeze. Well, of course he did. Because who's left to enforce it? I mean, that doesn't mean that we should stop the litigation. Oh, absolutely muddy the waters and frazzle their smarticle particles. The Trump administration has violated a court order by refusing to reverse a freeze of billions in government funds, a judge ruled Monday. All you agents that are potentially on the chopping block, if you still have your badge, etc., just go rogue. Go rogue. Remember when martial law was called upon in South Korea? And how the powers that be, that subset of powers, like, no, we're not going quietly. We're not doing this. That's what you need to do. But let's continue. The ruling was the latest challenge to sweeping White House plans to cut costs and remake the U.S. government. You mean destroy U.S. government and make Trump a full-fledged dictator. Well, a figurehead for the Heritage Foundation. Now, what exactly Musk wants to accomplish with his coup, not sure yet, but we'll keep an eye out. U.S. District Judge John McConnell Jr. previously ruled that the government should continue to fund programs authorized by Congress. On Monday, he said the White House had defied a preliminary injunction that the judge issued after 23 Democratic state attorneys general filed a lawsuit to stop the funding freeze. The Trump administration said it would appeal the ruling. Doesn't mean you get to keep doing what you want to do while it's under appeal. That's not what that means, like, at all. On January 28th, President Trump signed an order that initially froze hundreds of billions of federal funds, a move that the president said was a short-term measure to hunt for waste and fraud. This not how you do things. Now, in those court documents from the case that you were found guilty of 34 felonies, it came out that you were a micromanager at the Trump organization. Did you learn nothing? Oh, the only thing you learned was how to commit fraud, not how to properly run shit. It was unclear which government programs were affected, and the move caused widespread panic among millions of people who rely on government funds for health care, pension, and veterans benefits and food aid, because just like all things Heritage Foundation, it's poorly written, no plans behind it, and driven by white supremacy talking points and lies. Y'all might want to look up Mama and Papa's journals. A lot of these things that you're waging war against, that's what they were supposed to be, perpetual talking points. Everybody knew that they were lies, but you. But I digress. The White House rescinded a memo that outlined in more detail on what would be frozen, but said it was still planning to halt funding. Trump spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt said the executive order remained in effect and the White House would continue to pursue a broad funding freeze and cut funds for gender issues and diversity programs. Does she realize she's a diversity program? The group of attorneys general from Democratic-run states filed a lawsuit, and Judge McConnell issued a temporary injunction to halt the plans just days later. On Monday, the judge said the White House had not complied with his order, although he did not announce a penalty or find administration officials in contempt of court. Those that are being pushed out the DOJ, hit up these attorneys general, because y'all know how things go. And like I said, those y'all being pushed out of the CIA and the FBI and the Secret Service, etc. Go look at that beautiful footage from South Korea. Just a suggestion. Just for your viewing pleasure. McConnell wrote that administration officials argue that they were just trying to root out fraud, but the freezes in effect now were a result of the broad categorical order, not a specific finding of possible fraud. Yeah, none of this is how anything works. And y'all not trying to root out fraud. You're saying that as a smokescreen to be able to pay for the real promises that Trump made and the only ones he gives a fuck about keeping. The broad freeze, the judge said, is likely unconstitutional and has caused and continues to cause irreparable harm to a vast portion of this country. The Trump administration made a court filing later on Monday saying it intended to appeal the decision and ask for the court's order to be paused. Absolutely the fuck not. The ruling is the first to find that the second Trump administration violated a court order. Democrats and their allies have lodged dozens of lawsuits in an attempt to slow or halt Trump's policies, which he's enacted with sweeping executive orders at a rapid pace since taking office about 3 weeks ago. And he thinks this is a victory. He thinks that he is doing something by signing all of these executive orders. He doesn't realize that this shows that he is a piss-poor negotiator. This shows that he does not work well with others. This shows that he has no forethought or planning, and that his puppeteers, his Svengatlis, if you will, are pushing out these poorly written, ill thought out, no plans behind bullshit executive orders, making this administration, therefore the country, the laughingstock yet again of this third rock from the sun. Yay, winning. The ruling is the first to find The Trump administration has taken action to expand the power of the president to control U.S. government funds, and his administration is undertaking a broad set of unilateral cuts through Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Elon Musk's department. This duality of coups is, didn't see this being added to the new season of the United States. The lawsuits could result in one or more Supreme Court rulings on the scope of presidential power. Well, SCOTUS, and we know the portion of SCOTUS that we're talking to. You fucked up on a previous ruling, and here we are. So now what?